Ethan did not expect anyone at his door that night. The sky outside was dark, the wind was cold, and the street was quiet like a sleeping town. He had just finished his long day of work and wanted nothing more than rest. But then came the knock, soft, shaky, and desperate. It was the kind of knock that warned something was wrong even before the door opened. He walked slowly toward the door, feeling a strange pressure in the air. When he pulled it open, he froze. A young alien woman stood there. She was small, thin, and shaking from the cold. Her skin was a pale silver color with blue lines running along her arms. But the shocking part was not her alien features. It was the bruised, dark, swollen marks on her face, her neck, and her arms. Some bruises looked new, some old. But all of them told the same story. She had been hurt badly by someone. She tried to speak, but her voice was a tiny whisper. "Are you Ethan?" Ethan nodded slowly. "Yes, I'm Ethan. You must be my bride," she said, as if the word tasted bitter. She looked down and pressed her hands together. "I came, as the contract said." Ethan stared at her in silence. He had signed up for the mail-order bride program months ago, but he never expected her to look like this. He expected a shy stranger, not a wounded girl. Something was terribly wrong. Before he could say anything more, her legs trembled and she fell forward. Ethan quickly caught her before she hit the ground. Her body felt weak, almost weightless in his arms. Her breath was fast and shallow, and her trembling would not stop. Hey, stay with me," he said softly, lifting her carefully. "You're safe now." Her eyes fluttered weakly. For the first time, he saw fear in them, deep fear, the kind that comes from running for too long. They will find me," she whispered. "Run." Then her eyes closed, and she fell unconscious in his arms. Ethan carried her inside, closing the door quickly behind him. He placed her gently on the couch and checked her breathing. She was alive, but her body looked exhausted, as if she had been traveling for days without rest. Her clothes were torn, her hair was messy, and dust covered her boots. He turned on a lamp, and the warm light revealed even more bruises. Some looked like she had been grabbed and dragged. Others looked like weapon marks. And on the side of her neck, a burned symbol caught his eyes sharp. Strange pattern marked into her skin, glowing faintly like old fire. "What happened to you?" he whispered, feeling anger rise inside him. He brought a bowl of warm water and a cloth. He washed the dirt from her face. As he cleaned one of her wounds, she flinched even in her sleep, like she expected to be hit again. Someone did this. Someone hurt her. Someone chased her. Ethan's house suddenly felt too quiet, too open, too unprotected. He walked to the window and peeked outside. The street was empty. Nothing moved. But the silence felt wrong. It felt like something dangerous was hiding in the dark. He locked all the doors and windows. When he returned to the couch, the alien girl slowly opened her eyes again. Her breathing was uneven, but she tried to sit up. Ethan gently held her shoulder. "No, don't get up. You're injured." She looked around the room with fear, like she didn't trust walls or safety. You should not have let me in," she whispered. "Why?" he asked softly. "Because they will come. They do not stop. They will not stop. Not until they take me back." Ethan frowned. "Who are they?" She closed her eyes tightly, as if saying the name would hurt her. "Hunters," she whispered. "They belong to the house that owns me." Ethan felt a chill run through him. "Owns you?" What kind of place was she from? She touched the burned symbol on her neck. "This mark. It means I cannot run. But I broke the rule. I escaped." Ethan felt anger burn inside him. "No one owns you. Not here." Her eyes widened at his words, as if she had never heard anyone say something like that before. For a moment, she looked almost hopeful. But then her expression turned dark again. "They will track me," she said. "They always do." Ethan leaned closer. "You are safe in my house." She shook her head slowly. You do not understand. They will kill you, just for helping me." A cold silence filled the room. Ethan didn't know who they were. But he knew one thing. The fear in her voice was real. And whatever chased her had not given up yet. Outside, in the dark street, something moved. A shadow, slow, silent, looking for her. Ethan did not sleep that night. He sat beside the bruised alien girl as she rested on his couch, her breathing soft but shaky. Every few minutes, she shivered, even under the blanket. Every time the house made a small sound, she flinched. It was clear she had lived too long in fear. He watched her face closely. Under the bruises, she looked young, tired, fragile, like someone who had been treated as less than a person for a long time. Ethan dipped the cloth back into the warm water bowl and gently cleaned another bruise on her arm. When he lifted her sleeve, he saw something that made his breath stop. Her skin wasn't just bruised. It had burned symbols carved into its lines, circles, and marks that looked like they were made with something hot. The shapes glowed faintly, like dim orange fire trapped under her skin. "What is this?" Ethan whispered. These marks didn't look like normal wounds. They looked like they meant something. Like they were part of some alien language or code, as he traced one symbol lightly with the tip of his finger. Her eyes opened suddenly. She sat up, panic spreading across her face. "Don't touch it," she gasped. Ethan pulled his hand back immediately. "Sorry. I didn't mean it's not safe," she whispered, covering the symbol with her hand. Her voice shook as if touching it brought back a painful memory. "This mark. It tracks me." Ethan frowned. "Tracks you? How?" "It holds energy. The house, the one I escaped from, uses it to find me. As long as this mark is alive, they know I am alive." Her eyes moved around the room, terrified of things Ethan couldn't see. "And they are coming." Ethan felt a strange pressure in the air again. The same pressure he felt when he opened the door earlier. It was almost like someone outside the house was watching. Waiting. "You need to tell me who they are," Ethan said softly. "What are you running from?" She wrapped her arms around herself as if trying to hide her whole body. "I belong to one of the strongest houses in my empire. They call it the House of Varen. They take girls like me from villages and raise us to be keys." "Keys," Ethan echoed. She nodded slowly. "We carry energy in our blood. Special energy. It unlocks ancient devices from our past. The Varen House uses us to open sealed weapons, ships, and vaults. We are not people to them. We are tools." Ethan clenched his jaw. "And you escaped?" "Yes," she whispered, her voice trembling. "I saw what they did to the others. I did not want to die like them. So I ran before they sold me as a bride. They didn't choose you. I chose you because Earth is far. Hard to reach. I thought they would not find me here." Ethan stared at her. "But you still came bruised. Someone hurt you before you got here." She nodded slowly. "Their guards caught me. I fought them. Then I escaped again." She lifted her sleeve a little. More symbols glowed under her skin. "They punished me. Each time I tried to escape, they burned a tracking symbol. Each symbol makes my scent stronger, easy to follow." Ethan felt something dark inside him. "They marked you like an animal." Her eyes filled with tears. Not dramatic tears, quiet tears, the kind that came from long suffering. "Yes, they did." Ethan took a deep breath and looked around his house. The shadows felt deeper tonight. The silence outside felt dangerous. "Do they know you're on Earth?" She nodded once. Yes, the moment I landed. They follow every ship that leaves our territory. How long until they arrive? She paused, then whispered, maybe. They are already here. Ethan felt cold run through his body. He stood and walked to the window again. This time, he only opened the curtain a little. The street outside looked normal, but then his eyes caught movement near the tree line. Something tall, something metallic, slowly stepping between the shadows. Ethan's heart pounded. He went back to her. Do they look human? No, she whispered. They wear armor. Black armor. Their helmets see through walls. They can sense the mark on my skin. Ethan swallowed hard. Then we need to hide you. She grabbed his arm suddenly. You don't understand. If they find me here, you will die for protecting me. Ethan looked her straight in the eyes. I'm not letting them take you. Her lips parted in shock. No one had ever said such words to her before. Not in her world. Ethan moved quickly. He locked every door again, checked every window, and turned off all lights. The house went dark and silent. But outside, something else moved. Slow steps, heavy metal. The hunters were close. Closer than he thought. The night around Ethan's house grew even more silent, almost unnaturally so, as if the world outside was holding its breath. Inside the dim room, the alien girl sat curled on the edge of the couch, hugging her knees and staring at the floor. Her bruises looked darker in the low light, and the faint glow of the burned symbols on her skin gave her a haunted appearance. Ethan paced the room slowly. His mind raced with questions, but one question pressed louder than all others. Tell me everything, he said quietly. I need to understand what's happening so I can help you. She hesitated. He could see the fear in her eyes, the fear of speaking, the fear of remembering, the fear of trusting. But then she looked at Ethan's face, saw the seriousness in his eyes, and took a shaky breath. My name is Lyra, she whispered. I was never meant to be a bride. Ethan stopped pacing. Then why did you come here through the bride program? Lyra looked down at her hands. Her fingers trembled. Because it was the only way off my planet. The only way to escape? Ethan felt a cold shock move through him. Escape from what? From the House of Varen, she said. From the people who own me. The word own hit him like a punch. He sat down across from her. You said they use you as a key. But what does that mean? Lyra closed her eyes briefly, gathering strength to explain. Each of us, each girl they take, has a special type of energy inside her blood. It reacts with ancient machines older than any empire. We are the only ones who can open them, so they raise us like tools, train us, hurt us when we fail. Ethan's hands clenched. And they mark you with those symbols so they can track you. She nodded. Every time I tried to escape, they burned another symbol into my skin. Each symbol makes it easier for them to find me. Each symbol means I am more valuable and more dangerous. If I run... Ethan lowered his voice. How did you actually escape? They sound powerful. Lyra stared at the floor. The day they chose to sell me as a bride, I ran before the guards could take me to the transport ship. They caught me near the gates. They beat me, dragged me back, and burned 2 more symbols. But one of the guards, he felt sorry for me. He left a side door unlocked during the night shift. She paused, trembling. I took my chance. I stole a tracker jammer and ran onto a cargo ship heading to the bride agency. It was the only transport leaving that night. So, you weren't chosen by me, Ethan said. You picked my world because it was far away. Lyra nodded. Your planet is quiet, poor in galactic value. I thought they would not bother coming here. I thought I could hide as a bride. Live a normal life, maybe. Finally, be free. Ethan felt an ache in his chest. She came to this world hoping for safety, but she arrived bruised, hunted, and terrified. But they tracked you, Ethan said softly. Lyra's answer was barely a whisper. They always do. Ethan stood again and walked to the window. He didn't open the curtain this time. He just listened. The wind outside was too steady. No insects. No night birds. No cars. It was the kind of silence machines made. You said they will kill me if they find you here, he said without turning. Yes, she whispered. Why? Because humans are weak, she said sadly. Because they think your species cannot stop them. If you help me, they will remove you like crushing an insect. Ethan turned around slowly. Do you think I'm weak? Lyra looked up at him. Her eyes softened. You helped me. You cleaned my wounds. You are not weak. But they do not care about kindness. Ethan stepped closer. Lyra, I didn't buy a bride. I don't want a servant. I don't want control. But I won't let someone take you like property. Her breath caught. No one in her life had ever said such words to her. But Ethan, she said, voice shaking, you don't understand how strong they are. Their hunters cross galaxies. Their armor can break stone. Their ships move without sound. Their leader, if he comes, he will destroy anything in his way. Ethan knelt in front of her so their eyes met. Then he has to go through me first. Lyra stared at him as if trying to understand why a human would risk his life for someone he'd just met. Before she could speak again, the floor of the house vibrated slightly, very lightly, but enough for both of them to feel it. Ethan stiffened. What was that? Lyra's face turned pale. A landing. Ethan grabbed his jacket and reached for the old shotgun he kept near his tools. His hands were steady, even though his heartbeat grew faster. Lyra whispered, Ethan, please, you cannot fight them. He looked at her with calm eyes. Watch me. Outside, something metallic stepped onto the soil. A shadow passed the window. The hunters had arrived. The ground shook again just a little, like a quiet warning. Ethan and Lyra both froze. The lamp on the table rattled softly. Even the air felt heavier. Like something powerful had spread its presence across the land outside. Ethan moved toward the window with slow steps. He didn't pull the curtain aside this time. He only pressed his ear against the wall. No voices, no footsteps, no engines, just silence. A terrifying, controlled silence. Lyra hugged herself tightly. The faint glow from the symbols on her skin grew slightly brighter, like they were reacting to something nearby. They're close, she whispered. Too close, are you sure? Ethan asked, though he already knew the answer. Yes, the marks burn when hunters are near. Like they're calling me back. Ethan felt fire rise in his chest. How dare they treat her this way? How dare they come to his world and hunt someone like she was an animal? He grabbed his old shotgun from the corner. It was a human weapon, crude compared to alien tech. But Ethan trusted his hands more than he trusted the unknown. Stay behind me, he said. But Lyra stood and shook her head. You cannot shoot them. Their armor is too strong. Your bullets will not hurt them. Maybe not, Ethan said. But they don't know what humans can do when we're pushed. Before she could answer, a sound sliced through the silence, a soft hum, smooth and unnatural. It wasn't wind. It wasn't an engine. It was something alien. Lyra's eyes widened. That's a scout drone. Ethan peeked through the smallest crack in the curtain. His breath stopped. A small ship hovered above the street, black metal, silent as a ghost. It was shaped like an arrowhead, and beneath it floated two drones glowing with red lights. They scanned the asphalt, the houses, the trees. A thin red beam swept left and right. Searching for her. Lyra backed away from the window, her legs trembling so badly she could barely stand. They sent the scouts first. The hunters will follow. Ethan looked back outside. A second ship appeared. Then a third, all silent, all sharp, all deadly. His quiet forest town had never seen anything like this. If his neighbors looked outside right now, they wouldn't even understand what they were seeing. A cold realization washed over him. "We need to move," Ethan said. "This house is too exposed." "No," Lyra whispered. "If we run now, they will see us. They scan movement, so what do? We hide deep." Ethan thought quickly. The basement was too shallow. The attic was too open. The shed outside was suicide. He looked at the old trapdoor under the carpet near the kitchen. It led to a crawl space, small, dark, and cramped, but hidden. "Come on," he said, pulling the carpet back. "We can hide here." But before he could open it, light flashed through the window, sharp red beams sweeping across the walls. Lyra gasped and pressed herself flat against the floor. "They found a trace," she whispered. One of the symbols reacted to the scan. Ethan grabbed her hand and yanked the trapdoor open. "Get inside." She hesitated for only half a second before crawling into the tight, dusty space. Ethan followed, pulling the door down behind them. The darkness swallowed them instantly. They lay side by side in the narrow space, barely able to move. The wood above them creaked as something heavy landed on the porch. A metallic footstep, then another. Then a third. Lyra's entire body froze. Ethan felt her shaking violently beside him. "Stay quiet," he whispered, barely audible. A low grinding sound echoed above them. The porch boards shifted under the weight of something huge. A hunter. Lyra pressed her hand over her mouth. Tears ran silently down her cheeks. Ethan could hear the creatures breathing slow, steady, mechanical. Something scraped the door. Then something sniffed. Like a machine trying to detect energy. The hunter took a step inside the house. Ethan squeezed Lyra's hand gently. He couldn't see her face, but he could feel her fear. The hunter moved through the living room, each step heavy enough to shake dust from the beams above. A metallic voice spoke in a cold, emotionless tone. "Target scent detected." Symbol resonance confirmed. Lyra sucked in a silent breath. Her body tensed as if she might pass out. Ethan whispered, "They don't know we're under the floor." I don't know if the symbols can hide," she whispered back, barely forming words. The hunter stopped directly above them. Right over the TRAPDOOR, if it moved the carpet. If it sensed the heat of their bodies. If it analyzed the wood density. They were dead. Seconds felt like years. Finally, another voice echoed from outside. "Unit 4. Report." The hunter above them replied, "Target scent weak. Continue sweep." Its footsteps moved away slowly. Ethan exhaled silently, but Lyra grabbed his arm. "This is not good. Hunters don't search alone. If one is inside, more are coming." Ethan whispered, "How many?" She swallowed hard. "A whole squad. And if a squad is here..." Ethan finished her sentence for her. "More ships are coming." Ethan and Lyra stayed in the cramped darkness beneath the floorboards long after the footsteps faded. Dust floated in the narrow air, and the silence pressed against their ears. Lyra's breathing was soft but panicked, as if she expected the trapdoor to explode open at any moment. Ethan waited, counting every second. Only when the vibrations finally stopped completely only. When he felt the hunters had moved farther away, he whispered, "We have to get out of here. They'll scan this area again." Lyra nodded weakly, wiping her tears with trembling hands. Ethan pushed the trapdoor open slowly, making no sound. They climbed out into the dim kitchen. The house felt wrong now, violated, marked. They won't stop, Lyra whispered. If they do not find me here, they will search the next house. Then the next street. They will search your whole town. Ethan didn't want to imagine that. Normal humans with normal lives suddenly hunted because of her. Because of him, he locked the door again and turned to her. You need to tell me everything else. No holding back. I need to know why you are so important. Lyra hesitated. Her eyes lowered to the glowing symbols on her arms. It's not that I'm important. It is what I can open. Ethan crossed his arms. Open what? She took a shaky breath. A weapon? Ethan froze. A weapon. Yes, she whispered, voice heavy with shame. A weapon buried long ago. Older than my people. Older than many empires. It sleeps under the soil of this planet. Ethan blinked. On Earth. Lyra nodded. Yes. That is why the House of Varn wants me. They believe the weapon is powerful enough to change wars, to rule galaxies. They need a key to activate it. My energy can unlock ancient machines no other species can open. Ethan rubbed a hand across his face. Why Earth? Why not their own world? Lyra looked around, as if expecting someone to listen. Long ago, before humans even existed, my ancestors traveled to many worlds. They left relics and machines behind. Some were forgotten. Some were too dangerous to keep near home. The weapon was sealed here on a young, quiet planet no one cared about. They believed it would never be found. But your house found it, Ethan said. Yes, Lyra whispered. My empire found its location a few cycles ago. They started studying it. They learned the energy needed to open it existed in girls like me. That is why they take us. That is why they burn symbols onto us. To control us, to make us weaker, to make us depend on them. Ethan felt something hot rise inside his chest. Anger, disgust, fury. So if they get you, they open the weapon. And then what? They attack Earth. Other worlds. Lyra lowered her eyes. Yes, they will kill anyone in the way. Every planet would bow to them. Ethan stared at her for a long moment, trying to absorb the weight of her words. A galactic war. Started on Earth. Because of her? No, Ethan said finally. We're not letting that happen. Lyra looked at him with a sad, almost desperate expression. Ethan, you cannot protect me from them. They have hunters. They have ships. They have armies. You are one human, and they're on my land, Ethan replied. That matters. She frowned softly. Why does that matter? Because humans protect their own, Ethan said. And I don't care if you're alien. You're on Earth now. Before she could respond, a sudden noise cut through the house, a deep hum sound like a pulse. The windows shook. The lights flickered. Ethan grabbed Lyra and pulled her behind the couch. What was that? He whispered. Lyra's eyes grew wide. A resonance scan. A what? A device that detects energy patterns. They are trying to force my symbols to react. They are calling to them. Ethan peeked over the couch. A red glow seeped through the window from outside. It pulsed, slow and rhythmic. Each pulse made the symbols on Lyra's arms burn brighter. She clenched her teeth, trying not to scream. It hurts, Ethan. It burns. Ethan grabbed her hands tightly. Stay with me. The pulse grew stronger. Outside, the hunter's shadows moved like dark spirits in the red light. They are trying to activate my energy. Lyra gasped. To track me more clearly. To make me react. Ethan pulled her into his arms. Fight it. You're not theirs. You're not a key. You're a person. Lyra squeezed her eyes shut. You don't understand. They trained us to obey the pull. It's like chains. Then break them, he whispered fiercely. You escaped them once. You can do it again. She trembled violently, but she held his hand tighter. The red pulse slowed, then faded. Lyra collapsed against his chest, exhausted and shaking. They didn't have much time. The hunters were zeroing in. They were close to close. Ethan took a deep breath, stood, and grabbed his bag. We're leaving, he said. Lyra lifted her head weakly. Where? Somewhere they won't expect, Ethan said. Somewhere humans hide better than anyone. He opened the back door just a crack. Dozens of red scout lights swept the forest. Lyra whispered, voice full of fear. They are surrounding us. Ethan stepped out anyway. Then we'll break the circle. The night sky was torn open by human ships, loud, bright, and full of raw earth power. But the battle was far from over. The hunters were not afraid of humans. They regrouped quickly, their armor cracking with sparks from the energy wave. Their drones already are EBOOTING. Ethan stood on the ridge, shotgun in his hands, chest heaving from the blast. Lyra collapsed beside him, exhausted from forcing her energy into the tower. You need to run, she whispered, barely able to speak. The commander will come for me first. You cannot fight him. But Ethan didn't move. He stared down at the forest where shadows shifted between the trees. The hunters were climbing the hill, silent, focused, determined. He checked the shotgun. Only 2 shells left. Not enough to kill, but enough to buy seconds. Seconds could save Lyra. He turned to her. You stay behind that tower. If I fall, you keep running. Understand? She shook her head. I won't leave you. You will, he said firmly. You escaped them once. You will escape again. The ground shook. Heavy footsteps. The commander was getting close. Ethan stepped forward. His breath was steady. His hands were calm. Fear was there, but behind it was something older, something deeper. The same thing that had pushed him through surviving storms, working alone and building a life with his own hands. Humans break. Humans bleed. But humans never stop. A drone rose over the ridge, red core glowing. Ethan fired. The blast shattered its sensor, sending it spinning out of the air. Then the shadows reached the hill. The hunters climbed with terrifying speed-black armor glinting in the moonlight, claws gripping into the earth. Their glowing helmets locked directly onto Ethan. One leaped first. Ethan rolled sideways just in time, the alien's claws slicing the air where he stood seconds before. He fired his second shot straight into its knee joint. The alien roared, not in pain, but in anger as it stumbled. Ethan grabbed a metal rod from the ground, swung hard, and smashed it into the alien's helmet. The visor cracked. Sparks burst in the air. The alien fell back, sliding down the hill. Lyra gasped. Ethan, your bullets. How? Armor's tough. Joints aren't, Ethan said. Before she could answer, another hunter lunged. Ethan ducked and rolled, the claws smashing into the rock where he had been. The alien grabbed Ethan's jacket, lifting him off the ground. Lyra screamed, nitrogen monoxide. But Ethan didn't panic. He shoved his thumb into the alien's visor crack and jammed a handful of dirt inside. The machine sputtered and sparked. Blinded, the hunter stumbled and released him. Ethan landed hard on the ground, but sprang back up quickly. This was no longer a fight between a human and an alien. This was survival. This was instinct. This was Earth. More hunters climbed the ridge. Too many, Ethan. Lyra cried, struggling to stand. There are too many. I'm not fighting to win, Ethan replied. I'm fighting to hold them here. Then a deep growl echoed through the trees. The commander finally arrived. He stepped into the clearing, towering above the others. 10 feet tall, armor glowing with purple veins of power. His helmet scanned the area with a cold, deadly hum. When he spoke, his voice thundered across the ridge. "Human, step aside. She does not belong to your world." Ethan spat dirt from his mouth. "She does now." The commander tilted his head. "You think you can protect her? Your weapons are useless. Your body is weak. Your species is small." Ethan smirked. "Small enough to fit into places you can't imagine." The commander roared and charged. Ethan sprinted toward the fallen drone. A sharp piece of metal stuck out from its broken frame of power cable, glowing blue. He ripped it free just as the commander swung his claw. The impact sent Ethan rolling across the ground. Pain tore through his ribs, but he gripped the cable tightly. The end sparked violently. The commander stomped toward him. Ethan launched himself forward and jammed the live cable directly into the crack of the commander's knee armor. The explosion was immediate, electric. Light burst across the alien's armor. Sparks shot into the air. The commander roared as one leg collapsed, metal smoking. Ethan fell back, coughing, hands shaking. But he didn't stop. He grabbed the shotgun's broken stock and slammed it into the exposed joint again and again until the metal bent. The commander stumbled. One leg damaged, but not destroyed. "You fight like an animal," the alien roared. "Good," Ethan gasped, "because animals survive." Behind them, human military ships finally descended into the forest with bright spotlights. Loudspeakers blared warnings in English: "Stand down. Drop your weapons. This is the Earth's Defense Force." Hunters looked up, startled. The commander turned his head. Momentarily distracted, Ethan didn't waste the chance. He grabbed a heavy stone from the ridge and hurled it with all his strength at the commander's helmet. It hit with a sharp crack. The alien stumbled again, one knee hitting the ground. Lyra's eyes widened. "Ethan, you brought him to his knees." Ethan wiped blood from his mouth. "He's on Earth. Gravity's different. Terrain's different. And humans don't give up." The commander rose slowly, armor sparking, voice filled with rage. "This is not over." Ethan pointed at the sky where dozens of human ships hovered like angry guardians. "Yeah," he said. "It is." Human soldiers rappelled down in full armor, the ridge filled with human voices. Human lights, human power. The hunters backed away. War had begun. But they had awakened the wrong planet. Earth was ready, and Ethan, broken, bruised, bleeding, stood in front of Lyra like a shield. A human shield. And nothing was stronger than that. The forest burned with red lights as Ethan dragged Lyra through the darkness, staying low, holding her tightly so she wouldn't fall. Behind them, alien drones hummed like angry insects, sweeping the trees with sharp beams of scanning light. Every few seconds, a beam passed so close that it brushed Ethan's back with warm heat. "Keep your head down," Ethan whispered. Lyra tried, but her body was weak. The forced resonance pulse from earlier had drained her energy. Every step hurt. Every breath shook. But she still held Ethan's hand, refusing to let go, as they weaved between the trees. The ground suddenly shook with a deep rumble. Leaves rained down. Birds scattered, panicked. Far behind them, a massive shadow rose above the treetops' broad shoulders. Glowing eyes, armor like black stone. Lyra's voice trembled. "The commander. He's here." "Good," Ethan muttered. "Let him come." She stared at him in shock. "Ethan, that thing can tear steel." "And?" Ethan said without fear. "He stepped onto Earth. That makes it my problem." Before she could argue, A red beam shot between them, slicing bark off a tree. Ethan pulled her behind a fallen trunk as blasts of energy exploded around them. They found us. Lyra cried softly. Ethan loaded his shotgun not because it could kill the hunters, but because it could slow them, distract them, make them miscalculate. Humans fight with grit, not tech. He fired once. The blast hit a drone sensor. It sparked, spun wildly, and crashed into a tree trunk. 3 more drones descended instantly. Ethan grabbed Lyra again. We need higher ground. There's a ridge north, Lyra whispered, near the old radio tower. Perfect. They ran again. This time, Ethan heard branches snapping behind them, heavy footsteps shaking the earth. The commander was following. The forest glowed red as drone lights danced across every surface. Ethan climbed the ridge with Lyra, pushing her up before himself. When they reached the top, they could finally see the hunters below, tall, armored figures scanning the ground with deadly precision. Their helmets glowed with cruel blue lights. Ethan pulled Lyra behind a rock. We hold here? No. She grabbed his sleeve. You cannot fight them alone. You will die. Ethan looked at her with steady eyes. Then I die protecting you. But I won't let them take you. Tears filled Lyra's eyes. No one had ever said such a thing to her. She had always been a tool, a key, never a person worth saving. Below them, the commander stepped forward. He was huge, nearly 10 feet tall, armor pulsing with violet lines. His voice cut the night like a blade. Lyra of the Varan, surrender. You do not belong to yourself. You belong to us. Lyra pressed her forehead against her knees, trembling. Ethan, I can't let you die for me. Ethan placed a hand on her shoulder. Lyra, listen to me. You're not property. Not here. Not ever. She lifted her head. Her eyes glowed faintly with the same energy inside her blood. But, what can we do? She whispered. Ethan looked at the radio tower ahead. Tall metal structure silhouetted against the stars. Rusted, old, forgotten. Unless, an idea sparked. Lyra, he said, your energy. It reacts to ancient machines, right? Yes, but this tower is old, Ethan said. Not alien, but old tech reacts to strange energy sometimes. We could overload it. Use your energy to make a massive burst. Lyra's eyes widened. You want to create an explosion signal. Big enough, Ethan said, that Earth's military sees it. Lyra blinked. You want to call humans? Yes, Ethan said. Because if I know anything, it's this: humans don't ignore danger. Below them, the commander roared. Last warning. Ethan grabbed Lyra's hand. We climb. They ran toward the tower. The drones spotted them instantly, firing bright shots that lit the night white. One blast hit the ground near Ethan, throwing him sideways. He hit the dirt hard, groaning, Ethan. Lyra screamed, crawling to him. I'm fine, he said, struggling to stand. Go. Touch the tower. Lyra reached the metal structure and placed her glowing hand on it. The symbols on her skin reacted instantly, brightening, pulsing. The tower shook as energy traveled up its frame. Hurry! Ethan shouted. The commander sprinted toward them, tearing through trees like they were paper. Drones swarmed behind him. Lyra screamed as the energy in her body surged. Her entire arm burned with light. The tower crackled, lighting up the entire ridge. The commander leaped onto the hill. Too late, the tower exploded with a blinding white, flash and energy wave bursting upward into the sky. The blast threw every drone to the ground. The commander staggered backward, armor sizzling. The explosion stretched into the sky like a flare seen from orbit. Ethan grabbed Lyra and shielded her as the wave passed, then dashed silence, a deep, vibrating silence. And then, from above, the clouds tore open. Earth military ships roared down like thunder, their lights flooding the forest in bright human blue. Lyra stared up in shock. "You called an army?" "No," Ethan said, breathing hard. "I called home." The commander looked up and realized the truth. Earth was awake, war had arrived, but it would not be fought on alien terms. It started because of Lyra. But now, humans were stepping in.